From the Bishop Manogue High football field, welcome to Champion Chevrolet and America First Credit Union's countdown to kickoff. She's Nikki Pica. I'm Shannon Kelly. It's almost that time of year again where the football fields across northern Nevada will be packed for the next several weeks. The lights will be turned back on across the Silver State. Nikki, what a time of year it is, and what are you excited most for this upcoming season?
I think the most exciting thing is just the fall, and you think about the fall, you think of hot chocolate, you think of finally putting on those boots and coming out to these football games, but it's really cool to see all of the people in this area, go to their respective schools and just show their support. And I think it's just a fun time for everyone. And, it kind of brings you back to the high school days.
Right? Yeah, it really does. You can't forget about the pumpkin spice lattes either.
Oh,
Everything
nope.
pumpkin, right?
Nope, absolutely.
Well, last year, the 5A division was split between three different classes. The 5A Division 1, which was composed of teams from just in southern Nevada, and then the 5A Division 2 and 3, which was teams in the north and the south. Now, based off of last year's standings, the Douglas Tigers finished at the top of the 5A Division 3, so they'll move up to the 5A Division 2. Meanwhile, Damani Ranch finishing at the bottom of the 5A Division 2 in league standings, so they'll move to the 5A Division 3 this season. It'll be very interesting for both teams and the leagues in general, as this is on a 2-year cycle, the way this alignment is set up.
Yeah, and I think especially with the Douglas Tigers, making that jump up, they went undefeated in regular season play, but lost that regional title game to Galena. And then Damani Ranch, when they dropped down to the 5A 3 division, it was a three-way tie between them, Reno, and McQueen. They lost in a tiebreaker. Whatever that tiebreaker is, we haven't really been told what that is, but they lost, so they got the short end of the stick to kind of fall down to that lower level. But I think a lot to prove with both of these teams, as the Tigers are kind of going to want to prove themselves with the best in the area.
And we'll see what the Tigers can do. We'll get to a breakdown of all 5A Northern teams, all 12. Plus, we have an interview with Truckee's head coach, Josh Ivins, coming up a little bit later in our show. Now, the divisional classes, as we mentioned them, this is year 2 of this realignment cycle. It'll be voted on at the end of the year, so we'll see what sticks, what the NIAA Realignment Committee likes, didn't like, and what the coach's input is on that. So another year is here. We'll start off talking about the Bishop Manogue Miners. Bishop Manogue claiming its first state title in 20 years and its first in the 5A division, and first for head coach Ernie Howren, who's been coaching in northern Nevada for more than 2 decades, the most tenured coach in this area, an 11-time regional champion, 5 state runner-up finishes, and now Coach Howren can finally add a state title to his collection.
Yeah, I think essentially he's losing a lot of good players, Ben Scolari, Philip Jacobs, that list kind of goes on, but they are able to replace them on the offensive side with, Vince Clark, Dulan Hakari, and then transfer Brandon Mann, who will be the quarterback for this team this year. He transferred in from San Francisco and has a bunch of Power 5 offers, at that next Division 1 level. So, I think they're going to pick up right where they left off.
You mentioned Brandon Mann offers from Nevada, Virginia Tech, Washington State. When talking with head coach Ernie Howren, he said he's really talented. This kid can spin the ball, comes out of his hand quick. He has a really good football IQ, a big arm. So as he used to live in California, his cousins go to Bishop Manogue. He is a junior, so he is next in line for the Miners. You also had the chance to chat with head coach Ernie Howren. Nikki, one-on-one, mic him up.
I know.
Here is that feature.
Wonderful catch. Nice ball.
Silly, coach.
Plain silly, coach. I am mic'd up for NSN, so let's try and watch our mouth, because I'm going to for sure, okay? Help me out. It's open. Let's just take it right now. Shoot. Okay. Brandon did it yesterday. We've had the quarterbacks, Logan's done it, Phillip's done it. When we have teams that blitz on us, we can hit the crosser right now. Tell them, you know what was going to be the goal if we had one state or not one state? Well, let's say we hadn't one state. It was going to come win state this year. So goal isn't really, it's no different. We want to win state again.
it's lots of motivation for this year. You know, I feel like we can go back to back.
From freshman to senior year, they've always felt like a family. That's just how it is here at Minogue.
Nobody's standing next to me anymore. We don't want to be near you. Nikki, nobody's standing next to me now because of you.
He's a great guy, better coach. He always wants the best for us, and it's great to know that he doesn't just care about you as a football player, he cares about you as a person. And so he's a guy that you want to work for. He's a guy that you want to do well for because he wants the best for you.
What do you listen to?
I listen to a lot of Sinatra.
You like Frank? You can walk, you don't need to run on this. Outside linebacker went under here. Yes, you got exactly what you want for the measure coming across.
All the coaches have really helped us. They try to keep our intensity up and our attention to detail really high. Our games that are out of the season, our preseason games down in California, I feel like those are really important ones for the team. But also definitely Spanish Springs and Reed.
Let's go, let's go. So just take it right now and put it on them, okay?
From last year, winning state and all that hard work we did, it's carrying over this year. I could tell everyone's working hard every day. Everyone's getting into that rhythm, you know, attention to detail. We're just working.
I kind of have this anxiety and pressure that I put on myself every year for the last 30 years. So actually it feels the exact same as it's felt for 30 straight years. Go. Holy, nice ball. Hey, team! Team, guys, team!
Well, Coach Howren said it there. The goal hasn't changed whether the Miners won state last year or not. The goal remains the same, to win league, win region, win state. And he said, you know, that's the thing he's been most proud of with this group is how they've responded this offseason. You know, it doesn't matter that they won last year. You know, the guys haven't come into it like, hey, we won last year, we're going to do it again this year. He said that's what we've been most proud of is how well they've been focused this summer, very hungry. And, you know, this Miners team's going to look a lot different this year. A lot of starters on defense. You know, Minogue lost Celeste Manu, Mario Williams, safety Tony Carmella. So some rebuilding to do on both sides of the ball, and we'll see, can the Miners try and repeat again this year?
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting, and I think, you know, his resume is great, and obviously they have a lot of really good weapons on their team as of right now.
All right, let's switch gears now and talk Spanish Springs. We'll head up Pyramid Highway. 6-year head coach Rob Hummel leading the program. There's a lot of starters that are returning for the Cougars this year. They did lose a handful of all-region players, so a good balance, although they will have to replace starting quarterback Tate Hummel, the all-region performer last season. But we'll see. There's a couple guys who are battling for the job.
Yeah, I think essentially that was the biggest question mark about this team. I think overall, super strong, and I believe that it's going to be a big hole to fill with Tate, kind of, you know, making that next step and graduating and all that. But, you know, they do have Brady Hummel, who is going to be a junior, good on offense and defense, and then Neri Gonzalez, who is also a junior who, you know, will help lead this team.
Spanish Springs looking for its first regional title still in school history after making it the last 2 years, falling to the Miners both of those seasons. These guys very hungry to get back to that place and win even more.
We've been there the last 2 years against the same opponent. Bishop Manogue got us both times, and they're a good football team, obviously. And you know, we work, you know, all season long to get ready to go play. You know, and we're at the point now where we know if we play well, we expect to be in that game. It's getting guys to understand the importance of, you know, playing hard every single week to get ready for big games. And then when you get to those big games, if you're playing hard every week, it's the pressure's off at that point. I think we've got a lot of guys that are super competitive, that you know, they want to be the first Spanish Springs football team to win a region title.
It's not fun losing, for sure. Every loss, you know, looking at Coach Hummel it's not a fun look. But last year I promised them I was going to bring one bring one home, and I think this is the year.
So we have all the tools this year. It's just up to us to determine our success. It's how hard we work every day, and we'll get back there, and I think we'll win it this year.
Coach Hummel said it comes down to performing at a high level. He thinks that Minogue outperformed them last year, so now it's a matter of can the Cougars rise to the challenge and try and make some school history this season. Coming up next here on Countdown to Kickoff, we continue to take a look at the Northern 5A2 division. The Douglas Tigers moving on up. We'll preview them and more right after this. Welcome back. Taking a look now at the Reed Raiders, led by fifth-year head coach Garrett Hughes. And the Raiders return quite a duo in Nishan Bajwa and Bronwyn Rios, the running back and quarterback, expected to be potent for this Raiders offense this season. We'll see if the boys over on Bering Boulevard can continue to make some noise after a strong start last year.
Yeah, I think it's kind of rare that you have those two offensive weapons, a quarterback and a running back, returning after producing such a great showing last season. Bronwyn Rios returning for his junior season, 1,300 yards with 18 touchdowns. Just as a sophomore, Nishan Bajwa, 2,000 yards and 20 scores. So I think those two will really make an impact for themselves. And I think, last year they had gotten off to a great start and then, lost to Spanish Springs towards the end of the year in playoffs. So they have a lot to prove. And when I did talk to Garrett Hughes, he wanted to emphasize this summer that trust was probably the biggest part and something that he really wanted to instill in this team. So I asked him, what does trust mean to him?
I don't think you can have success in anything that requires more than one person without trust. I think if you trust the people around you, you can do your job a lot better because you can just focus on that. And I think that applies to any type of team or group activity. And the more that you can really buy into that, one thing we've been talking about a lot is you got to give your trust to somebody else and then they feel responsible back to you. And that's just a relationship environment we're trying to continue to develop.
He just wants us to trust each other, have the coaches trust the players to do their job, and the players to trust each other. I trust my linemen, receivers, Braun, running back, everyone.
This season I think we're more as a brotherhood, more as teammates. We want to help each other get to the next goal, win the next game, try to have more fun than usual. Don't make football like a job, have fun.
Hughes added they'll hopefully be balanced on both sides of the ball this season. Mentioned also how Nishan Bajwa, just like his brother Armand, who previously had played for Reed as well, was also a quarterback. He's like an extension of the coach on the field, Nishan. So great to have him as the Raiders signal caller again this season. And there's a few other players that are back for Reed this year too, Nikki.
Yeah, so the Pineda brothers, Xavier and Oswaldo. Xavier was one of, he was kind of the sleeper pick of the team, I would say. He did a lot for that offense and on defense as well. So they both had moved and had transferred to Hug and then transferred back, I think about 3 weeks ago to Reed, getting the chance to come back and play with their team after making the impact that they did over the last couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see. Oswaldo is the defensive tackle and guard, and then Xavier Pineda is safety and wide receiver, who, while he was at Hug, was kind of practicing to be QB1. So kind of back in his element and back with the team that he started with in his high school career.
All right, so a little bit of change for the Raiders, a little bit, not having those guys, then getting them back. So we'll see what Reed can do this season. Switching gears now to chat about Reno, the Huskies, led by second-year head coach C.J. Winch. Coach Winch, previously the defensive coordinator at Demonte Ranch High, and some familiar faces from around Northern Nevada joined the staff with the Huskies this year in former Hug coach Anthony Doucette, who was also at North Valleys for more than a decade. So he'll be the special teams coordinator and work with the running backs this season. And there you see Carson Strong, the former Nevada football quarterback, the two-time Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year, coaching at Reno High this season. So he's going to help elevate the offense as he is the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I think he's going to bring an element, and he had mentioned that he's going to be bringing the air raid back. So he's going to be taking things that he learned with the Wolfpack and things that he learned while he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. So it'll be pretty cool. And he was also bringing back some former Wolfpack players who are now playing in the NFL. To come back and work with this team. So it's pretty cool.
So it'll be really cool for these guys. Who better to learn from than Carson Strong, Coach Winch, Coach Doucette. We'll see if all the pieces can come together for Reno. Here's what some of the guys had to say.
Last year, I would say we were scared to throw the ball a little bit. This year, obviously, we have Carson Strong, and he's a QB, so he wants to throw the ball. And I say we have a good QB who can throw the ball, Braylon Wilson. We have good receivers who can catch the ball. So I'm excited to see us throw the ball more and be like more of an offensive team than just a defensive team.
I think it's a great team because, there's an answer to every defense. So, on these plays, we have a bunch of different options, a bunch of different routes that could be run. So it's not like a set play. And I think that leaves for a lot of opportunities depending on what the defense is. So I think that'll be really good for our team.
You know, we have our quick hitting pass game, we have our deep pass game, we got our RPO game. So we're going to make you defend every inch of the field. And that's, as a former defensive coach, that's the hardest thing you can do. So I'm excited to see, again, if that translates into Friday nights here in the fall.
I think we definitely come together more. Last season we were a little distant, but both sides of the ball were separated a little bit more. I feel like we've come together more as a team, and our coaching staff has come together and are more organized.
Coach Winch added 4-7. That's unacceptable. I'll take 100% of the blame for that. So we'll see how the Huskies can, finish these games this season. They had a lot of close games, score more points, finish up the drives. We also had the chance to chat with Carson Strong, too. And here's what he had to say about his first year coaching high school football.
I'm having a lot of fun bringing back the air raid. Running the air raid offense that I ran in Nevada, but the other half of it is what I learned from Shane Steichen in Philly. He's now the head coach of the Colts. I learned a ton from him. He's a really good coach. And so there's a lot of stuff in the run game and the RPO game that we're doing that they did. We didn't run RPOs at Nevada when I was there. It was straight drop back pass a lot of the time. And so a lot of the straight drop back pass is what we do here. But then a lot of the run game is coming from what I learned in Philly from Shane.
I really enjoy, coming from a quarterback who's been at the college and even the NFL for a little bit, just learning from him. He knows so much about the game, so it's been really good, and he wants to get better. He keeps pushing our team, so it's been really good to have him.
It's nice to know that these guys are coming back to help out the Northern Nevada area and just kind of leave an emphasis and bring their knowledge to these kids. Now shifting gears, we're going to talk about Douglas High School, who got that call up to go to the 5A2 division after going undefeated in regular season play, led by Kyle Mays. In his in just 3 seasons, he has gone 12-18. And honestly, they had a phenomenal team last year. Running back Connor Jackson, the 5A3 player of the year, ran for most of the team's touchdowns, 31 of 36. So with them moving up, we will see if they will be able to, fill that spot of Jackson, as well as be able to play with the best of the best in the 5A2 division.
We've been harping on it all year. They didn't believe in us last year, put us down, and we got back up, so now we have to prove that we belong up here.
I think it's going to be pretty hard, It's going to take a lot of hard work, I think it's going to be pretty difficult, but I think this team, it's got the capabilities, just we'll see where we go.
What has Coach Mays done to just elevate this program over the last couple years?
I can't even start. There's been so much from a rough first few seasons and him just being so driven by wanting to succeed and seeing these kids succeed. His passion for the game is unmatched by any other, and I think that really portrays out on us kids, and having him as a head coach, I think it really leads us in the right direction. And just everything he's done from last year and what we're going to do this year, I think it's going to be really good for this program.
We always want to try to compete with the best and see where we fall within that group, and so we're excited for the move. It's something we were excited to do at the end of last year, coming into this year, and we'll see what happens.
So the Tigers very junior heavy this season after losing Jackson. They also lose Cole Smalley, Kyle Kuntz, Trace Estes. Estes is over at Nevada, Kuntz over at Sac State. So the Tigers replenishing this year, and despite not being in the same division as Carson, the Senators and the Tigers will still face each other early on in the year. You know that rivalry still has to be played this season. Let's head back over to McQueen High School now, up on Robb Drive and led by third-year head coach Matt Marner. The Lancers this season losing Trey Lagrone. He's headed down to UNLV, continuing on to play baseball. For Coach Marner, one of the biggest words of the summer, discipline, trying to do the little things right, building this sense of connectedness. So it's a very heavy senior class, more than 30 seniors on the roster this year. So can the Lancers try and make some noise after winning a regional title a few years ago when Robbie Snelling was on the team, Ashton Hayes on that team as well? Here's what Coach Marner had to say.
It's been all about discipline, trying to do the little things right, trying to build a sense of connectedness amongst the guys and get them to see that even though we might be 55 guys deep, the first guy depends absolutely on the 55th guy just as much as he does on the second and third guy. We're only going to be as good as our last guy, and so that's really what it's been about, is just getting them to buy into one another.
And how good is that last guy?
This year our last guy is pretty good, I think. I think that we can make some noise if we can stay healthy and digest all the stuff we're trying to feed them this summer.
It's going to really come down to us finding some heart and wanting to really find it in ourselves and not depending on anyone else, because it's just us on the field and really depending on each other and playing for each other.
You heard Coach Marner, only going to be as good as our last guy. Well, we'll see then how good that last guy is here in just a few days. Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, shifting to the 5A3 division. Galena shocking some last year after winning a regional title, their first since 2006. Can they repeat this season? We'll find out. The boys up on Mount Rose Highway celebrating its first regional title since 2006. Last year, coming up a little bit short to legacy in the 5A Division III state title game over at Mackey Stadium. But Galena, led by six-year head coach Aaron Cook, looking for more this year. Returns a lot of guys, including quarterback Colson Kermode, wide receiver Ben Imsey. He said these guys, the numbers are bigger this season. They've had a lot more come out and turn out. And, it's a good group for them this year, as they do have a lot of returners. He said, we have helmets, we have shirts that say together. And he said, we harp on that. That's such a big thing that if we're not successful on Thursdays, we're not going to be successful on Fridays. Here's Coach Cook and some of the guys talking about the upcoming season.
We faced a lot of adversity last year, so obviously building on that adversity, we'll be able to function through adversity this year and just be able to grow through that and obviously succeed through that.
Our coaching staff is very supportive. They do a very good job in terms of discipline. Outside of football and school, they're very easy to go talk to, support-wise. If I need anything, I go to my coaches. We're family.
The bond we have, a lot of teams may not have that tight brotherhood bond, but we're literally brothers. We argue like brothers. We love like brothers. We are a team. We always have each other's back no matter what. When I'm walking down to the game, I know these guys got my back.
I think it speaks volumes. Throughout the summer we practice together. There's some stuff that we have to separate and do, obviously, but we're in the classroom together, we're in the weight room together, we're conditioning together. We teach a holistic approach to football. It's not just one team does this and another team does that, and that's how you grow and foster those young kids to end up being winners when they're older.
Now taking it down south, we are going to take a look at Damani Ranch, who is dropping down to that 5A3 division after finishing in the last spot. But we are seeing a new face, J.J. Milan, a former Wolfpack player and spent some time in the NFL. He will be taking over the coaching job here with the Mustangs. He's bringing over his entire coaching staff when they coached at Pop Warner here in Reno, or Northern Nevada, I should say. So it'll be quite a task for him to revamp this team. They do have offensive weapon Amari Nash, who is entering his junior campaign. And we did talk to Milan and some of the guys, so here's what they had to say.
This team is going to be a great team this year. They are. They got a lot of talent. They got a lot of good kids. They just needed some structure. They needed some competent leadership, and I'm not saying it wasn't there before, but they just needed some structure and discipline that just wasn't there. And these guys have bought in. I've been telling them buy in and show these people, show the whole town, the whole city that this is the new us. And so they have bought in. They've gone to all the workouts, all the conditioning, all the football practices, spring ball. So we've been trying to attend everything. We're doing the Nevada camp. We do as many 7-on-7s as we can. We just try to compete everywhere we go, and it's definitely showing.
Do you think the level of ball that he played kind of gives you guys that level of respect to want to do better and want to play better?
Yeah, it definitely shows us that, like, he's done it. So he's giving us his interest and, like, his experience, which is making us, like, better.
I'm excited to win. Like, I think we're going to – my prediction is to go undefeated, so that'll be fun, and go to state with all my boys.
Definitely a state title. I'm not trying to be like cocky or anything, but we are definitely a Division II team, and we need to be competing with those teams. So I think we should get a state title this year out of it.
Well, you heard the Mustangs. They're not too happy maybe about being back in the 5A Division III this year. We heard from Amari Nash. He's also received an offer from Nevada, and he was a standout for the Mustangs last season on offense, on defense, on special teams, second team all-region honors. He was really the Mustangs' everything last year, so we'll see how he fits in and just, you know, what this Damani Ranch team is going to look like under a new head coach. Sean DePries was there for many years. And then now J.J. Milan stepping in after Ty Gregg was the head coach at Damani Ranch previously. So a lot of changes for the Mustangs. It'll be interesting to see how they can compete this year. Should be exciting to watch J.J. Milan and some of his former coaches from Pop Warner that are headed over to coach with him. Coming up next here on Countdown to Kickoff, we continue to take a look at the 5A Division III ranks. We'll take a look at Wooster, North Valleys, and the rest of the 5A after this.
Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. We're going to continue on with the rest of the 5A division, continuing on with North Valleys High School head coach Brad Rose. He is in his third season, and he had mentioned that, you know, they might not have had the best season last year. They were outscored 242-101, but this year he noticed that his players have this sense of calmness about them because they are entering their third year as starters. They won their first game of the season against Sparks last year and then dropped 7 straight. So a lot to improve on, but there was a lot going for this team in many different ways. And here's what they had to say about this upcoming season.
It's really been about culture, like culture through the school, culture through the team, like culture as a whole, just building our team, building our culture, and being great in any perspective.
I think just being disciplined and trusting our coaches as well as each other, I think that's gotten us to the point where we are today, and we're just going to keep on doing that because that's led to a lot of success this offseason.
We each have a connection. You know, we come from different backgrounds here in the Valleys. You know, we have some crazy stuff happen back here, but we're just able to come together as a family and just be together, grow each and every day, and obviously growing our relationships as people helps us grow our capabilities on the field and just having each other's backs all the time.
I think it's the experience this year. A lot of guys in their third year of varsity football. They bring that kind of calmness and understanding of the system, and so I think that's really the biggest thing I've seen, and they've done a great job of mentoring even our younger kids and bringing them up to the level that we need them to be this year.
I made sure to ask those players what their secret sauce was coming into this season, so they had some pretty good answers and a wide variety of things that the whole team can improve on and what they worked on throughout the season.
So Michael Almond, he'll be back at quarterback for the Panthers this year. Brad Rose helping lead the Panthers to its first ever playoff victory in school history last season against Carson. You know, they're hungry for more. Coach Rose, he was previously over at Sparks and then made the jump over to North Valleys a few years ago. Switching gears, let's head over to Wooster High. The Colts, led by 9th-year head coach Bo Sellers. Man, for Wooster, they've been in the 3A, then we're in the 4A, 3A. Now they've been in the 5A the last 2 years. Coach Sellers said that's one of the biggest things that excites him the most this year is the consistency and being in the same league for the last 2 years in a row now. And he said that should be important. That should bode well for this group. But he said some of the biggest things they're just trying to do, go out there, be tough, hold on to the ball, and play hard this season.
I think we're looking forward to being in the same league 2 years in a row. We've kind of bounced around with COVID and the realignment process over the last 5-6 years. And, there's been times where we were in one league one year, another league next. But I think consistency with our guys, we know who we're playing this year. We played them last year. And I think that we can build upon that as far as preparedness and trying to win football games.
Our defense, mainly. Our defense is really what kept us going last year, and it got us out of tough games. So something that I really rely on is our defense. Not only our defense, it's just every time all these boys come out here and work, and they're giving it their all, and they want to win too, just as much as me.
So our team does have a lot of chemistry. I mean, most of these guys we played since like middle schools from Vaughan area, and we all come up, and even the players that don't have the chemistry, we bring them in right away. We put them in our group chats, we invite them places. We just bring everyone in. It's basically like a family over here, and we just build our own chemistry, and we're just a team,
So we heard from Lonnie Harrison, the reigning 5A Division III Northern Defensive Lineman of the season. Coach Sellers said he hopes that his leadership will play a large role on this Wooster squad this season. As the Sellers family tradition continues at Wooster High, Joe Mack over in the weight room, Jake is the wrestling coach, and then of course the other Sellers, Luke, the head coach over at Elko High School. Let's head over now to the capital city, the Carson Senators, led by head coach Ryan Bouchard.
Bouchard in his 3rd season with Carson, and he is slowly but steadily improving with this team each and every year. They are returning running back Christian Ray, wide receiver Ethan Hendy. So there are a few keys to their offensive arsenal that will really help this team as they progress through the season, especially with having that experience under their belt. The Senators allowed 95 fewer points in 2023 versus 2022, so defense is a big emphasis as they were heading into this season.
Our division breakout is great. We can come through, and it's almost anybody's game this year. We put everything together. We'll be a very viable team this year. So I'm really pleased with our progress we've made so far. Just cleaning up the little things like everybody else right now.
I would say just getting the chemistry as a team, just being prepared for the season, because the more practice we get, the better we get, and summer is perfect for that. But I do believe that we will come together as a team and just start working as a family.
We do like team dinners, and then we just hang out right outside, because we all try to click up all together, because so that there's not many groups, because usually that they're all groups and groups. But yeah, we just been getting closer and closer.
All right, so the Douglas and Carson rivalry, as we mentioned, it continues September 13th. Nikki, you know that's a game both of these schools have circled on their calendars.
Yeah, I was there for the 100th year rivalry game, and that was pretty crazy. Douglas did have, got the winning end of the stick, but this time it's going to be at Carson, so Douglas will make that trip up to Carson City, and honestly, I think it's fun every single year. Everyone that knows about that rivalry knows that it's so deep, and it runs honestly within their veins. I'm going to be honest with you, it is in their veins, and every person that has ever had anything to do with Douglas or Carson, they know about this rivalry, and they'll probably be there at the game.
No motivation needed. Expected to draw a great crowd, as it always does. Mm-hmm. It's great these two teams, of course, will get to play each other, even though they're not in the same division this season. Let's head over now to Hug, our final school in the 5A Northern ranks. The Hawks, led by first-year head coach Charles Berger. He was previously an assistant the last 5 seasons under Anthony Doucette and the previous staff. And what a summer it has been for Hug as Anthony Davis took over for Doucette this offseason, who stepped down back in the winter. And then a few weeks ago, Charles Berger took over, and he said he had less than a dozen players on the roster when he took over. We mentioned, hey, we're in the crawling stage right now. We need to get to walking as Hug is looking to, do what it did a couple years ago, and that was get back to the playoffs. It made it to the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. So we'll see what Hug can do this year under first-year head coach Charles Berger. Here's what he had to say about what excites him most about taking over this position.
The opportunity to change some kids' lives, to help them see a better way, to help expose them to different things that they might not have known. With all the kids know, me being here, that I believe in the Hug students. I believe in our students here on campus. We have a very negative narrative. I'm trying to change that image. More than anything else, it starts with some of the larger entities on the school, football, basketball programs, which I coach both. But more than anything else, I just want to change some lives. I mean, more than anything else, it takes baby steps. And right now, we're in a crawling stage, but I'm trying to get to walking.
We got an announcement saying that we got a new coach. And, everyone was, really excited. We're going to have a team this year. And I was like, hey, it's my senior season. Got to ball out with a new coach, no matter who it is. Last year, we went 1-11. I just want to show every single team here in Reno that, Hug isn't afraid of any competition. We're here to come out here and play, give it 110% every single time.
It's kind of hard trying to keep the team together because, everybody knowing that we might not have the team or something. But I was trying to get everybody to come still play.
What do you love most about playing for Coach Berger?
Just his commitment to this team and how he wants us to win and how he just brings pride to the team.
Coming up next on Champion Chevrolet and America First Credit Union's countdown to kickoff, we make a trip over to Truckee and catch up with head coach Josh Ivins as the Wolverines are aiming for a three-peat this season.
Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. We're going to shift gears real quick and highlight a 3A powerhouse, the Truckee Wolverines, led by Josh Ivins. They're on a 22-game win streak right now as they head into the 2024 season. Two back-to-back state titles for this team. And our Mike Stevenson got the chance to catch up with head coach Josh Ivins.
Coach, so great to come and connect with you up here in Truckee. Heck of a couple years for the Wolverines. How do you put it into words, back-to-back state champions?
Putting it into words, wow. Well, first of all, we have had a history of great coaches up here. And so there's, it's no different is having a good, strong coaching staff that is dedicated and getting kids prepared and, has been a huge piece to our success. Obviously, being part of Coach Schaefer's coaching staff for so many years has kind of helped me get to this point. And with the players, having strong dedication, off-season commitment has been, very gratifying when you see the work come through with the success we're having.
What does it take to represent the Truckee Wolverine football team? It's quite a commitment, I can imagine.
Yeah, it takes a kid that wants to dedicate himself in the classroom first and foremost. Our first goal every year is to try to win the academic state championship. And the past 2 years, we've not only won the state championship, we've won the academic state championship with pretty high GPAs when you consider how many, a roster of football players. To me, it starts in the classroom with kids that take school serious, because I know if they put the work in there that they're going to be a dedicated person. They're going to care about being in the weight room and bettering themselves in there, and in turn that turns into work ethics on the football field.
Man, back-to-back years winning the state championship, first at Allegiant Stadium and then you get to get it done at Mackey Stadium. Just incredible life experiences for you and your boys. How do you put those into words?
Yeah, so let me talk about this year first. Being in Mackey Stadium as a head coach was I went to school at Nevada, got my teaching credential there, so it was a very proud moment to be part of Truckee football at Mackey Stadium. I know we wear red.
You get it.
But I didn't wear red when I was at Nevada ever on campus, but then I would come, to practice here and have to change up. So, and being at the Legion Stadium, oh man, I was just, I've done several interviews about that experience, and it was very surreal, very, I'll never forget Dylan Sumner on our first offensive play, breaking away and scoring a touchdown on play one, and how loud our crowd was actually. Just gave me goosebumps instantly, and it's just one of those moments I'll never forget. And we got an onside kick right after that and went down and scored, and went up 14-0 with barely any time off, and we never looked back. My son ended up scoring a couple touchdowns that game, which just made it so much more special for my family, along with the Truckee football family.
Oh, and what a run it's been for the entire Truckee football family. Now 22 wins in a row as we enter this 2024 season. Give us the tale of the tape for this year's squad and what you guys are trying to accomplish.
Well, it's awesome to have a 22-game win streak, but each year's different. And this team is different than last year's team, and we got a lot of work to do if we're going to continue not only the win streak, but try to get back to another state championship. So, and we have a loaded front part of our schedule with really good teams. We start out with Damani Ranch, a perennial strong team in the Reno area, and we play St. Vincent de Paul, which is the California state champion, around the same size schools as us. So we got a tough schedule, Union Mine, and so we're going to be tested right off the bat. And so I think we'll know more early in the year, but I think we got a pretty talented group of kids. We're fast. Again, they're strong. We're not the biggest team, but this is a very dedicated team, and we understand teams are going to be coming after us, but they were coming after us last year, and quite frankly, people are always coming after Truckee. The fact that we're a California school playing Nevada, it's not something that's overlooked year to year. We hear a lot about it. And just this, I think winning puts a little bit more on it, but typically speaking, we're kind of the team that everybody's looking forward to trying to beat.
Coach, best of luck this season. We can't wait to watch the 2024 season unfold here for Truckee and the Wolverines.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Great to have our very own Mike Stephenson, a proud North Valley's Panthers grad, in the show. Thanks so much, Mike. And I love how Coach Ivins mentioned how when he was at Nevada, I didn't wear red when I was there. Of course I wore blue, but there's a lot of red in his closet, as Coach Ivins has been coaching at Truckee for more than a decade, taking over for Bob Schaefer, who had led the Wolverines to 9 state titles in 18 seasons. That's pretty impressive stuff. And Coach Ivins trying to continue to live up to Coach Schaefer's legacy, no doubt.
Yeah, Coach Schaefer's legacy. It lives on. They have a jersey for him up in the weight room, and even this season they're putting a Schaefer patch on I think their left shoulder, so you'll be able to see that at these Truckee games, and brand new uniforms, but it looks pretty good.
That's really cool. Really cool stuff. Well, also in the 3A Division 8, coaching change over at Churchill County this offseason, as Brooke Hill has retired. He helped guide Churchill County to 2 state football championships in 15 seasons, so he has retired, and Lowry grad Calvin Connors takes over the Green Wave program this season. So we'll see, a new era of Churchill County football is here. Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, we'll wrap up our show and take a look at the Friday Night Rivals schedule, as live high school football is back on Nevada Sports Net this season. We'll show you some of the matchups right after this. Back here at Bishop Manogue High School for America First Credit Union and Champion Chevrolet's Countdown to Kickoff. We wrap things up here by taking a look at the Friday Night Rivals schedule, as Don Marchand and his crew work diligently to bring you these games here all season long. A great slate of games again this year, as we start out with Reno hosting Galena.
Yeah, and then another game to watch, Douglas at Carson. That's that rivalry game that I was talking about earlier in the show. And another game to watch will be the 5A2 regional matchup between Bishop Manogue at Spanish Springs. So those are a couple games that you should keep an eye out for.
Some great ones to start off. And how about a pair of volleyball games this year as well? Spanish Springs hosting Reno and Bishop Manogue hosting McQueen. Plus, the Capital Glass Athletic Grant returns this season. So if you know a school and a program in need maybe of some new equipment this year, just head to our website, nevadasportsnet.com, and learn how you can sign up and to help donate schools in Northern Nevada. That'll do it for us here at Bishop Manogue High as a new season of high school football is here. For Nikki, Pica, I'm Shannon Kelly with Zach Larson and Anthony Resnick behind the scenes. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the sidelines this fall.